My name is Myrna.
And I'm Yvonne.
We've known each other since the early 70s. We were both involved with the fashion business.
That's
Both-
right.
Yeah, we were both creative, entrepreneurial women. Over those many years, we've shared our stories together.
And we still are friends today.
We've been looking at marriage and how we see the world as we've got older. I want to ask a question to you. How are we seen now as older women?
Oh, I don't think we're seeing it all. It's like when you were a teenager, it's very similar. You could feel quite lonely.
It was generally seen as invisible.
Definitely.
When I was younger, when I was in my 40s, believe it or not, I was prejudiced against older people. I was working on an art project with older people for Westminster adult education. Some of the people in this day centre, I heard that they were still very sexually active, but at that time I was horrified because to me they looked completely unattractive. So how did you view older people when you were younger?
Well, they didn't come into my life really. I know that sounds dreadful. The only older person I knew was my mother-in-law. She was the age of around 75, but I adored her. I mean, I used to kind of chat with her non-stop. We had a lot in common. I used to listen to her stories. She was actually a cordon bleu cook, and then she was a bra fitter in John Lewis's.
Wow.
I thought that was amazing. So I did get a lot of joy out, but I didn't see the age with her.
That's interesting. My mother was 40 when she had me, then my sister when she was a bit older. So I had a much older mother, and she was very stuck in her ways. So I had a bad example of an older woman because she was carrying almost Edwardian viewpoints about what girls should do and not should do. And I remember that she found sex filthy. So when I was about 11 in Manchester, someone told me not to tell my mother, but they told me the word fuck. So I asked my mother, I said, what does that word mean? She said, you're filthy, Myrna, don't ever mention that again. So I was none the wiser. So I think I had a bad example of older women, of older people actually, from my mother.
Well, you talk about your mother being older when you were born, and my mother had 3 children between the age of 40 and 45. But that was because she was working.
Okay.
She was very open and pushed all of us to do what we wanted to do.
Well, my mother, with my sister and myself, she thought an education spoiled us. She partly wanted to show off that we got into art college, but she partly wanted to say, this education's bad, it's made you into a kind of crazy person. So maybe that is why I had an odd attitude towards older people as I was growing up. Throughout history, women have been seen as either goddesses, like we've got the Virgin Mary, or seen as whores.
That's right.
Yes.
No in between. When I actually said about the Virgin Mary, every generation is stitched up to even today. But what came before us was all stitched up on putting the Virgin Mary that she was a virgin.
Okay.
I mean, what a thing to put on women.
Yes.
It's like it's like a rope around their necks. It's like in chains. It's like as if they're in jail and serving their time on being a virgin.
I remember it being a very big deal. It was a big taboo of having sex before marriage, wasn't there? As though somehow being married, it made it okay to have sex.
It started to be a big deal in our house at around the age of 16.
Okay.
That's when it all happened. All doors were closed. But yet I was working from the age of 14. Yeah. So I couldn't understand why I was being asked these questions because I was so free. But then when you went home, where were you? What were you doing? There's nothing good out after 11, only whores. I had to go to the dictionary and look up. Someone said prostitute, or she kept calling me a prostitute. First dictionary was bought when I was about 15 I couldn't even spell it.
What did you
And
say?
I looked it up in the dictionary, and I just couldn't believe what I was. I've got to get out of this house. What is the problem?
And no one explained what it was. But it shows you how hidden anything to do with sex was. My mother would write to me in London in her drunken score. She was an alcoholic later on, and say, "You're a whore, Myrna. You're a whore, or you're a prostitute, the same as you."
And I eventually left home because it was just too primitive and too narrow for me. I needed something better. It's my life. Whether I die or not, I'm living it. So I emigrated. It was just amazing. My life started. It was just like I was walking on air. I was free.
Yvonne, it's been great having this conversation with you. I think that you and I, as older women, have had a lifetime's experience, which I think many people might resonate with. So this is the beginning of future stories.
That's right, Myrna. We don't know where it's going to take us.
I like that.